Hey, how you doing, guys? I just found some really interesting news. In fact, I rushed to the internet once I found out, looking up online, looking at videos and other things. And so I kind of wanted to give my thoughts on this, if it's worth it, and other things. But before we get to that at the very end, of course, the announcement is Loupedeck now supports Final Cut Pro 10 video editor, which I use myself. Of course, originally it was developed for Adobe's Lightroom for photo editing and stuff like that. And now I've kind of missed that Loupedeck can be used for video editing because late last year, 2018, they did support Premiere Pro. Since I don't use it, perhaps that wasn't in my news feeds, tech news feeds. That's why I missed it. So I definitely interested. Anytime you can use hardware interfaces to support software or software interfaces for things like video editing, photo editing, stuff like that, you can often definitely speed up your workflow in many different ways. Maybe not totally replace all the software selections or something like that, but definitely can be well worth it. So, and of course, I am a big fan of using hardware interfaces, for example, and this is the one I use for Final Cut Pro 10 and DaVinci Resolve, and that's the Shuttle Pro 2, which I use for the timeline and a lot of the edits in, out, cut, and that's on the left. And then, of course, the center right side, we have the tangent ripple, which I use for adjusting the exposure and the color wheels, as you can see right there. And so looking into it, like I said, I kind of looked at their Loupedeck's video for supporting Final Cut Pro 10. The one thing I did, one of the biggest questions I asked is, well, how are you going to do the color wheels? Because there's no, usually if you're going to do the color wheels, you need something that does the XY axis, either together or independently or something like that. And of course, if you're going to do that with a hardware interface, you'd have something like a trackball type thing. Of course, this is from the tangent ripple. And you can do it simultaneously. And it doesn't seem, they kind of showed it, but it seemed, I admit I don't know how it works, but I only see maybe knobs and sliders. So I can only see in axis one, Y or X axes at a time, or even to do it simultaneously, you'd have to at least use two instead of like I said, a trackball or a joystick or even a trackpad. Probably may be a better thing to use. So other than that, I could see some problems there, but still I think it's great to be able to use a hardware interface like that for other things, applications. Now, as far as do I think it's worth it, it all depends. I think there are better solutions if you want to use a hardware interface or even saving up and get a dedicated thing. And like that's why I decided on using, the Shuttle Pro and the Tangent Ripple. I thought that would be the best way to do it for me. And so I ended up getting one first and then the other, or something that does all or both of them as well. Because now it might be worth it in a few cases, like if you own Lightroom like I do and you use it a lot. I don't use Lightroom a whole lot. Every once in a while if I take pictures or something and then I might want to edit it. Then, or if you can get the Loupedeck or the original Loupedeck for cheaper, you can brand new. I think Loupedeck is $179, I think, or buy it used, or even a Loupedeck Pro if you can buy that used, then that might be worth it. But paying full price or even the new version, which is $249, I mean, there's probably better things to use maybe, or wait a little while. But for me, obviously it's not going to be worth it. Or you use Lightroom and have the Loupedeck, and then if you go into video editing as far as on the Mac, then that'd probably be the way to go. Or even if you use it for, I'm trying to think, Premiere Pro, Lightroom and, now, of course, now you can use it for the Adobe Premiere Pro if you have Lightroom. But those are my thoughts. I thought it was exciting news. I want to tell you guys. So thanks for watching, and see you guys later.